Welcome to the 1850s Wild West, where everybody get motherfucking active. Over half of the association so far has already made trades. Players, picks, future picks, current draft night trades. It has been a really, really busy offseason so far. I'm here to go over the major trades and my major predictions for the rest of this crazy-ass offseason. Starting with the biggest and most monumental move is the Houston Rockets adding the most complete scoring asset in the history of the game of basketball. The Durantula, the Slim Reaper, my left calf tattoo, Kevin Durant himself. I think they got a phenomenal trade. I think this is going to wind up looking like the fucking Matthew Stafford to the Rams trade, okay? Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks can help you now. They can act as trade value assets. They've been very open. They do not want Bradley Beal back on this roster. They don't want him to show up. They're willing to even buy him out. Get out of here. They could not care less. So essentially replace Bradley Beal with Jalen Green. You've still got 6 shooting guards on the roster. They're probably going to move Dillon Brooks to get another pick or another asset, maybe like an athletic wing, a Derrick Jones Jr. type guy. I really, really like the picks that they got out of here. In my predictions was the Suns to bolster down on like Paint Beast. They did it before I could even record the video. At the 10th pick, they got Kaman Malawak. That was a phenomenal pickup. They traded for Mark Williams, and they didn't have to give up a whole lot. I think they did great bolstering that spot. Malawak is new. He'll get plenty of PT. Mark Williams is really good when he's on the court. Fits very well with a Devin Booker, but he's pretty injury prone, so he'll be able to teach Malawak while also giving him PT instead of competing for it. I really like the way that's going to work out for him. I don't think Houston had to give up a terrible amount. Jalen Green's good and athletic, but I think he's got a ceiling. I don't really think he's going to be going much higher. Dillon Brooks is definitely at his ceiling. I think he's already on the way down. And then obviously you're going to get a bunch of picks. I think they probably could have finessed another first instead of all these seconds, but I still think this is going to wind up being a win-win trade. Houston's going to get an increased chance to win the title for a smaller opportunity. The Suns are going to increase the longevity of their franchise and their superstar around him. Win-win. Like I said, this is like a Matthew Stafford to the Rams trade. I think in a few years, everyone's going to be like, wow, that worked out. No one's going to be upset. Second, I've got the 3-teamer. I do think that the other trade was more important, but I'm getting selfish. This is all about me. My hometown dude, Drake Powell, got drafted 22nd overall last night. Shout out to Brooklyn Nets. Treat my boy right. Pittsburgh native. This feels insane. I've played basketball against this man numerous times. I'm not going to say like mega competitively, but like in fives, I'm on the same court as dude, and it halfway looks like I'm supposed to be there. And he's in the NBA, so that's awesome, bro. Somebody I grew up around, somebody I know. I always thought his older brother was better. I thought Deuce was better, and now I look at Drake. Drake is crazy, bro. Shout out fucking Drake Powell, Chatham County, Pittsburgh. Whatever you want to accept, love you, bro. Hope nothing for the best in the league. Anyway, keep going through this. Somebody just died. The Celtics did exactly what we predicted. They dropped Kristaps in order to get some salary out of the way. Fully expected a pick, not a singular second pick. And having Georges Niang on your team is actually a liability, okay, because you got to give the guy minutes. I don't know why, but it seems like he's always finding a way to get on the court, and he hasn't produced anything in the last couple years. I like Georges Niang as a meme guy, not as an actual you're playing minutes on my competitive basketball team who just won a chip the other year. And I'm not going to say fluked out of the playoffs, but with terrible luck, couldn't repeat. And our starting center just turned into Georges Niang in a second-round pick. I'm not a big fan. I think Atlanta definitely wins this trade big time. They're giving away a couple seconds. They're giving away Terrence Mann. I don't think they could care less. They're getting in a great center. He's going to play some solid defense. They're still probably going to struggle on rebounds. Capella coming off the bench is going to be huge for them. I've always liked Clint Capella, but I think him turning into that sixth-man role, he'll be even better. I think he'll be putting up the same exact stats in less time so that his per 36 is going to go through the ceiling. I think Atlanta walks away huge victors of this trade. A+. You give up essentially nothing. You get Kristaps at his all-time lowest price. You give up an all-time low amount. Terrence Mann, as much as we like the guy, as athletic as he is, as many times as he's shown flashes, he just doesn't get PT. I don't know what Georges Niang does to get PT, but Terrence Mann just doesn't get it. I don't really think that this trade's going to matter too much, other than the fact that the Hawks got significantly better for not a lot of money, and the Eastern Conference is super weak this upcoming year. So this could actually mean a lot. This could, in a normal season, this would just be Atlanta getting a good value on their trade. This specific season, it could be enough to put them in like 2 or 3 seed contentions. Jason Tatum's out. Tyrese Halliburton's out. Damian Lillard's out. The Celtics are restructuring, not necessarily rebuilding. And there's a lot of teams like the Wizards or the Nets who just flat out aren't trying to compete right now. Or the Hornets who literally just can't compete right now. The Hawks have a chance, based off of this trade and this season, to actually make something big off of this. And I think it was a great move by their front office. This one sort of confuses me a little bit. It seems like the Wizards are intentionally getting older, which, I mean, maybe you're trying to surround your guys with veterans. I get it. You've got Bilal Coulibaly and Alexandre Sarr, or Alessandre, however you want to say it. But I don't know that you're surrounding these guys with the right vets. I really like C.J. McCollum. I really like Kelly Olynyk. But I don't know that these are... I think Kelly will be all right for Alexandre. You're going to be teaching him how to do that stretch big, still play physical, elbows in the paint, good, strong defense. But I don't really know if I see Bilal Coulibaly being some, like, elite guy, and now he's trying to learn from the all-around game of Chris Middleton and the strictly scoring game of 3J McCollum and the strictly defensive menacing mindset of Marcus Smart. Like, there's just a little bit too much going on there. I feel like these young guys are going to get a little bit overwhelmed. On top of that, you're getting second-round picks. As a rebuilding team, you should be looking for first. I do like this trade for the Pelicans. I've been a big Saddiq Bey fan. I don't know why. He's just one of those role players that absolutely stick out to me. He's a good Robert Covington, a good OG Anunoby type guy, 3-and-D, decent athletic, great mentality. I really liked him in Detroit till he injured his leg. I still like the guy, but I think that he'll fit in a lot better. If DeJounte Murray can come back healthy, Jordan Poole at the 2 is a defensive liability, but you've got Herb Jones, you've got Trey, you've got Zion Williamson in the paint. I mean, I do want to see maybe a big man rotation change a little bit. I do like Yves Missy. I think he's fine. I would like to see him bolstered a little bit. I think these guys are just like a really, really solid vet away from winning. With this current roster, with the Saddiq Bey and with an extra pick, I don't actually recall who they took with the 40th pick last night. I'm going to imagine it probably got traded because it was a pretty busy night. But I think that this pushes the Pelicans in the right direction of competing and not giving up any of their assets. And I think that this just sort of sticks the Wizards in NBA purgatory, which maybe they're trying to do. Maybe these guys just want the high picks, and they're trying to undercover tank because, you know, the NBA doesn't really approve of, like, blatant tanking anymore. We'll see how this one plays out. These are my major predictions for what's going on with the rest of the offseason. I'm going to start with the Celtics because I recorded this video a day late, and I already had to change this. I fully predicted them to drop Drew Holiday, and I fully expected them to be doing it for money reasons. I also got it right that I figured they'd be trading for an offensive point guard. The issue is that they traded for Anthony Simons, who is just a scoring point guard. I expected more of like when they traded for Malcolm Brogdon. The guy can score, but he plays good defense. He's really, really low to earth, and he passes the ball great. I expected them to go after more of like a Ty Jerome, Ty Jerome would actually work too. A Ty Jerome, a Tyus Jones, one of those guys. Maybe even like a Dennis Schroeder. Just a little bit more of a playmaker. Not quite a scorer because Anthony can score, Jalen can score, Jason can score. And they did. The issue is you got rid of your best defender for someone who's hopefully going to be your second best scorer now. But he's fighting for minutes with Derek White. And he's not going to beat Derek White because Derek White plays defense. So I don't really know what they're doing. I don't think they're done making moves. I imagine the Celtics have finished saving money, and now they're going to make a few trades for veterans and guys like that, be really aggressive in free agency with the little money they have to try and fill out that roster with guys who can just play 15 minutes a night and teach these young guys for the one season they're here that, hey, hold this shit down. We've got one of the best scorers in the NBA and Jason Tatum coming back next season. Everything's going to be all right. I don't know what they're going to do about their big man rotation. Kristaps is gone. Al Horford is old. They're going to have to get creative, but they're normally really good at it, dude. They find guys like Inez Cantor and Luke Cornett all the time. Like, the Celtics are just really, really high-level front office, and I think they're going to be fine. Unlike the Toronto Raptors, who have an absolute logjam at that wing position. R.J. Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Colin Murray Boyle's the guy they just drafted. I have no idea why they need so many. Grady Dick, did I even say Grady? There are so many scoring wings on this team that it doesn't even make sense. There are so many scoring wings on this team that none of them will average over 10 points per game because they're all fighting for catch-and-shoot three opportunities without a real facilitating point guard. I don't know if they forgot, but Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet are not there anymore. There's no one to pass these guys the ball unless you're going to consider paying Emmanuel Quickly $33 million a year, a good value. I really, really don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to take one of their picks or one of their wings, one of their young assets, something they can stick to quickly, who doesn't have that same Quickly contract for $38 million, $32 million, whatever, and I think they're going to ship him out of there. They could also do it with Jakob Poeltl because he's making like 19.5, but I think Quickly has higher value, and I think more people want him. He's also what you're trying to get. You're trying to get a point guard. So if you send one out there into the world, one's probably coming back there to you. If they can get that young facilitating point guard in exchange for one of their wings, maybe even keep Quickly on the bench, I don't know, but I think that these guys will be fine. It's just they are way too backed up at that small forward, power forward position. Yes, I'm counting R.J. Barrett as a small forward because the man cannot create. So he's not a shooting guard. He doesn't create for anyone but himself. So, I can't even put the word guard in his name. But they're decent on defense. They've got decent front office, good coaching, great fan base. Toronto's crazy, but I think they're just ruining it with the roster construction right now. I have my Hornets prediction on paper here, but I wholeheartedly believe this could go the opposite direction, and it wouldn't even faze me one bit. Trade LaMelo Ball. I only say that because there are already people coming into the league who say specifically, I don't want to play with LaMelo Ball. I realize that was probably Ace Bailey, and Ace Bailey's a bitch who doesn't, he gets in his feelings, whatever. I don't care. That is insane that someone says, I'm not willing to go to the NBA if I have to play with LaMelo Ball. Greedy bitch, yes, I agree, but that's insane. On top of the fact that LaMelo has just proven he can win basketball games almost by himself. When he's off the floor, the Hornets went 2-53 last year. Or no, 2-33 last year, sorry. Crazy. 2-33 without him. And they won 25, 30 games, which means they win 50% or more of their games when LaMelo actually suits up on that shit-ass roster. I think if you send them to L.A. or something, they're going to be willing to pay you. I think it's going to be easy to reset your rebuild. You've got Brandon Miller. You've got picks. They still – what did they get for Mark Williams in that trade? I really don't know. I hope they got something decent, but they still have time. You've got Miles Bridges, a really, really good borderline all-star type guy. He's a different type of player, but he's like your Tobias Harris. He's going to be solid for you. He's athletic and dunks and raps instead of shoots mid-range jump shots and free throws. But you've got Miles Bridges. You've got a couple of decent picks. You've got the big asset that is LaMelo Ball. This rebuild clearly hasn't worked. You've got your future asset in Brandon Miller. I'd like to see them just reset the rebuild. And they got Con Knuppel. I do think that they could have probably traded down, got an asset, and got him later with like the 6th pick or something. But Con was probably the safest pick in the Bay, just because you know what you're getting. You're getting a slow, confident, down-to-earth, 6'6", 6'7", guard forward who can really just control the game at his own pace. It looks like even in the NBA, he will already be able to just bring the game down to his speed. That's all he does, and I'm really impressed by that. Outside of that, I think that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be making a bunch of moves. I don't think that Dame's going to be staying around in terms of, like, to compete. I think the Bucks are going to go ahead and start scratching things with Dame anyway. I don't think Giannis is going anywhere. I think those are just hype trains. I think Bron's going to stay. I've seen a lot of people saying Bron's going to try and leave LA this year. I think he's just going to sign another 1-1, 1 year guaranteed, 1 year player option. San Antonio Spurs probably had the best night in the draft. I get the Mavs got Cooper Flag or whatever, but we got Dylan Harper and I forget his name, but we got the deaf center with the 14th overall pick. Dude was supposed to go like top 8, top 9. Absolute paint beast, pairing him with Wemby, getting Wemby out of those super physical matchups just to keep him physically maintained a little bit better. I'm super excited for this NBA season. I'm super excited because the Thunder are not going to go back-to-back. I'm super excited that someone's going to dethrone the Thunder. Can I just get that off my chest? I'm not glad the Thunder won the chip. If Halliburton would have played Game 7, they would have won. The Pacers would have dominated that game. Not only did the rest of the team look like shit, the Thunder did not play good. The Thunder had a lot of turnovers. The Thunder did not shoot well, and they only lost by 12. Tyrese Halliburton had 9 points in the first 7 minutes. I think he would have found 12 more points for him and his teammates. Anyway, that's besides the point. Send this video to your grandma so she thinks I'm cute and subscribes to my YouTube channel. I absolutely fucking adore you guys. I love you. I record these before I go to work. I come home and edit them. Every single view y'all put into this, every single comment, I genuinely appreciate, look at, and will never forget. I'm not going to stop recording these because I love doing them, so I hope you love watching, man. Peace, and go hug your mama.